Is Tuesday morning, October the 10th. What? October the 10th? Am I the only one that hasn't put out my darn Halloween decorations yet? Man, kind of need to get on that. Anyway, it's lovely, a little cloudy, very comfortable, very fall-like in Central Florida. I'm WESH 2 meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week to chat about what's going on in the world of weather. It is so comfortable outside. A live look at our Tower Cam network in Melbourne, Brevard County. Look out there, huh? That's not too bad. Got some clouds over top of us. But like yesterday, even though we're watching plenty of clouds, our first warning live Doppler radar is rain-free. So let's take a look at temperatures. 69 degrees in Orlando. It's 62 in Leesburg. 59 in the Villages. 61 in Palm Coast. Lower 70s in Brevard County. So about what we expected this morning. Another absolutely lovely start to the day. So looking to the out the door forecast, here's what you need to know. Comfy, dry conditions today. As I grab my cup of coffee. Who could ask for anything more? Who could ask for anything more? 80 to 86 our high temperature. Yeah, that's not too bad. All right, so how do we get there? Let's take a look at our 12-hour forecast. Clouds not wanting to clear out like we had first thought. So we'll go with a mostly cloudy sky yet again today. 74, 75 degree reading for lunchtime, so it'll feel nice and comfortable. This afternoon, a little bit warmer, up to about 85 degrees. And then temperatures will drop off. Tonight, we're not going to be as cool. We're starting to shift our weather patterns around. As a matter of fact, today is going to be the last really mostly superly dry day for a bit. Then we enter into a wet pattern. So let's enjoy the mostly cloudy skies and dry conditions while we can, right? 85 Orlando, 84 in Leesburg, 81 degrees from Flagler to Volusia County, about 84 degrees in Melbourne. So it's going to feel great. Futurecast, just have to dial that up, make sure we're all on the same page here. All right. Looking good this morning. We've got the clouds over top of us. Lunchtime, more clouds. No green, right? Like we're looking pretty good. 3, 4, 5 o'clock, still looking good. Evening, looking good. Overnight, looking good. Tomorrow morning, I see some green. Through the day tomorrow, some green. And then in the afternoon, plenty of green. So what's going on? We've got a complete pattern shift around Central Florida, don't we? First off, you'll notice the muggy meter showing pleasant stuff. And then boom, humid and steamy. Those dew points start to really climb. That is because there's all this moisture out in the Gulf. And all that moisture is starting its ride to the Sunshine State. Wednesday, Thursday, even Friday, we've got a whole lot of moisture moving our direction. So this is the part where I tell you our weather pattern is about to completely turn upside down. Rain coverage today, nice and low, less than a 10%. But look at what happens for our Wednesday, our Thursday, and our Friday. And frankly, these numbers may be a little low. We may actually need to increase this rain coverage just a little bit. Someone was detected at my front door. Very fun. All right, so love this, but just be ready because the weather pattern is turning around. All right, any questions so far, everybody? I've just been ignoring your comments just because I've been running my mouth. David, good morning to you. Debbie, good morning. Terry, how are you? Beth, good morning to you. Good morning. Debbie says, good morning to everyone in the Coffee Talk group this morning. Have a nice Tuesday. I'm going to do my best to stay awake. Got a lunch, and then I'm working from Amalfi, so I get to be pretend chief meteorologist today. So we'll be doing our thing at 4, 5, 5:30, 6, 7, 10, 11. You're going to be sick of me by the end of the day. Heck, I'm going to be sick of staying awake. Chris is asking, will I show some BSR love? Yes, we're going to look long range. And a reminder, it is Tuesday. So while, yes, we are going to discuss the tropics, we have our Tracking the Tropics Tuesday broadcast. 10 a.m. today, we're going to do a full dive on Tracking the Tropics. And for those of you that have followed along for a while, we are now in our long-range establishing cycle. So there's things to track. There's a lot to talk about. Wowzers. Danielle says, I'll be heading to Michigan tomorrow. I'll miss all the rain. Yeah, but let's see. Wednesday, let me just look. Let's just look at temperatures around the country for tomorrow morning, shall we? What is it, Michigan, you say? I mean, you'll be waking up to temperatures up that way in the lower 40s. Meanwhile, we're just sitting pretty here in the 70s. It's going to be a warmer start tomorrow morning. 71 in Orlando, but 40s up in Michigan. So, Danielle, I hope you're bringing the jacket. I hope so. Heather says, cloud cover makes me sleepy. Yeah, you and me both. Ecolitis on YouTube. GFS was showing something in the Caribbean a few runs ago. Now the CMC is showing it didn't. The BSR says something around the end of the month. Yeah, we're going to look at all the tropical stuff. We're going to look at the models. Well, I gotcha. I'm just making sure we're good with our local stuff before we go out any further. All right. Anything so far? So we know rain coverage is increasing, right? So let's just kind of set the stage here as to what's going on. So you've got that front, that storm system out in the Gulf of Mexico, okay? It's going to be bubbling up all that moisture. So Wednesday's looking pretty wet. Thursday morning as the storm system passes by us, we're just feeding in all this tropical moisture. Wednesday and Thursday look particularly wet. The good news, though, is that looking at Friday, it looks like there will be some moisture, but it's going to start to try and clear out. And as a matter of fact, if we look to the weekend forecast, okay, Saturday, we will have some moisture around in the afternoon as our next front moves through, okay? Now, into Saturday night, this should clear out. Sunday during the day, we're ushering in cooler, drier air, and oh boy, what a relief it is. We're talking about a big change. So Wednesday, Thursday, super wet. Friday, Saturday, still a little wet. What's happening there, Tex? 82, a high temperature on Sunday. So as it stands right now, there will be a few storms around Saturday. Sunday, again, will feel like fall. And then Monday, y'all, can we take a minute and talk about our Monday forecast? I don't know if you can handle this. Do you think you can handle this? Coolest air of the season? You're going to say yes. Talk about that a lot. But here's your Monday morning. 62 in Orlando. 59 in Leesburg. 57 in Ocala. I know, Ocala, you've been cooler. Let us have our moment in the rest of Central Florida. 64 in Melbourne. What? Oh, and you want to talk about daytime highs? You think you can handle this? Let me just take a peek. It's loading. Give the computer out. So the lowest temperature that we've gotten so far this season in Orlando, and I'm talking about Orlando. It's the biggest city, but I live somewhere else. That's why we have a map with a bunch of other cities. Well, my city's not on the map. Figure out where you are and pick the place next to you. You're off by a degree. Interpolate. Okay, so the lowest temperature that we have had yet this season, 78. Monday, you ask? 75. That's our high temperature in Orlando. 75 in the Villages, 73 degrees in Ocala, 78 a high temperature in Melbourne. Wow, that next front is going to be the coolest air since early April. And based on the thinking we have, okay, so if we do Monday as a 75 degree temperature, okay, that would be the 16th. Usually on average, the first 75 degree day in Orlando is October 19th. So that would be just a couple of days early for the average. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. So we have this to look forward to. What we have to deal with first is a little bit of crud. A little bit of not so great weather. Look at the water vapor channel of the GFS, just to give you, I clicked the Euro. Hold on. I did the GFS yesterday. Did Manolfi move the camera angles all around? Hold on a second. I guess he did. All right, well, we're going to have to go with this one because this is what's here. So watch how all that green and blue go right into Florida. All that moisture, and it's all there through Saturday afternoon. But notice Saturday late afternoon into Sunday morning, you've got that yellow moving in. That's the dry air sliding on into town. So we do have some changes in store. All right. All right. Chris says, Campeche. Yes, I need a drink. All right. Any questions? Oh, let's look at the model data just for fun. Like, just to illustrate what the GFS, and again, this is raw model data, so don't sit there and be like, taking this to heart. We can have a good joke about it, all right? So there you go. Temperatures getting warmer by Saturday. GFS even saying 90, which, wouldn't surprise me. Then you've got that drop-off Sunday, and, I actually think this is doing pretty good. And then staying lovely, like, look at these mornings. According to GFS, like Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday looking good. The GFS may be a little opportunistic on these morning lows, whereas the afternoon highs do start to climb. Little weak front maybe that next Saturday, and then starting to climb. I will tell you, this is a very El Nino pattern, and when I say that, I mean air temperatures love to cool off. An El Nino pattern usually loves keeping it a little cooler and a little stormier in Florida. That's going to play in big in the overall winter-spring pattern. Like I can tell you, Central Florida's worst tornado outbreaks have been during El Nino years. And if you need proof on what an El Nino year does for moisture, just look at our overall weather pattern that we are entering into here. Oh, hold on. I clicked the wrong graphic. Stand by. Click that. Click that. All right. So here you go. Proof positive. All that moisture bubbling up in the Gulf of Mexico, Energy far south, while we don't have the jet stream in play yet, when this recycles again, and we have to see how long this pattern duration is, but like when this recycles again, this will more than likely give us a nice opportunity for some severe weather. So watching all that Gulf moisture, watching all of it just overspreading our area, yeah, it's going to be interesting. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, anything at all? Anything at all? Here's a look at Central Florida's certified most accurate 7-day forecast. So again, I think we may need to up these rain chances and coverage just a little bit for particularly Wednesday, Thursday, but probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll have to see how that plays out. All right, Bruce, so we'll get to the tropics here in a minute. All right, so that's kind of where we're at right now. And then cooler, drier for our Sunday, Monday. But we're talking about this area of moisture in the Gulf of Mexico, and it is directly tied to the tropics. So let's get over to the tropics. All right. Down in the Bay of Campeche, watching Invest 93. Now, couple things here, and we're going to look at the raw models. This is going to try and develop into an area of low pressure. Absolutely no doubt. The models have been consistent on that. And as a matter of fact, we've known about that using the BSR, one of our long-range forecast techniques. We've known about this for what? 2 weeks? 3, 4 weeks? How long have we put that in our calendars? So we knew something was going to be in this area around mid-month. Okay? The question is, does it become tropical in nature? Hurricane Center has upped the chances to a 30% likelihood that Invest 93 develops into something of a tropical system. And that highlighted in yellow area is its chance for development region. That does not mean that it's lifting due north. As a matter of fact, since it's an Invest, we can run computer models on it, and it's kind of moving due north / northeast. What's interesting about this is that here we are, it's October 10th. So I will tell y'all, this is the first area of low pressure we are watching in the new long-range cycle pattern. So, for those of you that know these sorts of things, does that mean that maybe we've got a hot spot in this part of the country next year? Don't quote me on it because I haven't seen anything recycle yet, but I'm definitely watching this. Does it mean that we're going to make a hot spot here? And, Janice, I will tell you that in talking with Jeremy Nelson on the phone, one of the things that we want to do during October and November is make our hurricane forecast ideas very interactive with you. We want you all to be a part of the broader discussions. So that first version of that discussion happens today on Tracking the Tropics at 10 a.m. So you want to tune into that. So again, 30% likelihood that this thing gets going into something tropical. Even if it does, it's not going to become a big, bad, major Category 6 hurricane like you would be led to believe on TikTok. But there is going to be a bunch of rain moving into the Gulf Coast, including our area. I know there's no such thing as a Cat 6, Mike. I'm making fun of that TikTok girl. Okay? So it's either just a bunch of rain, or it could be rain with a name. Okay? So there's that. So again, this area, a 30% likelihood of tropical development. You kind of see it bubbling up. It's going to be a bunch of rain these next couple days. It's going to be a bunch of rain these next couple of days, all right? Elsewhere in the tropics, we also have Invest 92 sitting off the Cabo Verde Islands, looking about unchanged from yesterday. Models do want to try and develop this, a high likelihood of formation over the next couple of days' time. Next name on the list, by the way, is Sean. So, do we see Sean these next couple of days named? We'll have to wait and see. Larry says it's going to be almost like subtropical. Could be. Because there's a front interacting with it. That's where we get into the monotony of tropical categorization. And so that's the struggle there. Again, it doesn't matter if it's named or not. We're going to get quite wet these next couple of days. As a matter of fact, when looking at Invest 93, like, there's your rain numbers the next couple of days, kind of the forecast from the Weather Prediction Center. Parts of the Panhandle could be talking about, 4 to 6 inches of rain. Our northern spots, 2 to 4 inches next few days. Metro area, about 1 to 3. So there's a whole lot of moisture. If nothing else, there's a whole lot of moisture moving in. And we look at the kind of regional radar imagery, like, obviously we don't have radar coverage out in the open waters yet, but we're going to be watching for a bunch of rain these next couple of days. I also want to point one thing out. I have a lot of people I feel like that forget, I didn't know October was still hurricane season. And it's like, well, we got hit with Nicole in November of last year. So yeah, these things happen. But also, look at some of these October storms that have struck over the years. Like, we remember Michael, we remember Matthew, we remember Sandy, I remember Wilma. It's a long time ago, but also it feels like just yesterday, which tells me that I'm getting old, and I don't necessarily love that. So anyway, there's that. We're very much in hurricane season still, and we'll have to watch. So that's the wide shot of the tropics. Here's the overview of things. You've got the area in the Gulf. You've got the area off the coast of Africa. Shall we look at some computer models? Does that work for you? All right. So here we are. This is the raw GFS model data. All right. 6Z most recent run. And right off the bat, boom, lowering pressures. It's not going concentric. It's not really organizing, but the pressures are lowering. Evelyn, most hurricanes go to our area in October, correct? Yeah, October loves Florida. And real quick, I'll go back to the raw model data in a minute, but for conversation purposes, there's your average kind of formation zone is a little closer to home, and they definitely love that like Caribbean to Gulf loop. Case in point, this guy. They love that loop this time of year. All right? All right. Back to the models. Back to life. Back to reality. So GFS is showing an unorganized blob of low pressure, but it's not like tightening. So there's that moving through. And then maybe kind of firing up off the coast and doing its thing. Nice front. High pressure building in, and then a couple other little areas of low pressure. That's around the 25th. Remember, the BSR showed it. Okay, so yeah. That's October 26th. BSR did show something around there. So interesting. All right, that's the GFS. Let's go back. Let's switch over to the European. And we're going to take a much deeper dive on this, by the way, during during Tracking the Tropics at 10 a.m. One thing right off the bat that I'm noticing, the European is a little more bullish on trying to lower that pressure a little bit, right? 999. I mean, that's not a major hurricane, but it's trying to do something. And then bomb it off of the, East Coast out and away from us. So that's interesting. I'm curious. So that's the current run of the Euro. Let's go back a run. Last run was at 1,000. Interesting. 2 runs ago. 3 runs ago. So the European has at least trended a little bit more in a subtle organization, So interesting. All right, let's roll long range with the Euro. Decent front. The 20th. And then, kind of toward the end of the picture there, trying to throw something together in the Caribbean, perhaps. Interesting. All right, so there's that. What about the BSR? Because I know you're asking for it. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with what the BSR is, it's one of our long-range forecast techniques that we use to try and look out long range. So let me get my trusty calendar here. All right. Today is the 10th, all day. Decent little storm system there. That's around the 16th. And it may be a little, maybe around the 14th, 15th. It's plus or minus a couple of days. So, but you can see it's kind of showing this area of low pressure developing in the Gulf and kind of lifting up toward the Panhandle. So actually that's a 20. That's a 20. That's like the 14th, 15th. So, so that's our little Gulf storm system. That makes sense. That lines up perfectly. You see that positioning there. That positioning there directly ties to this. Oh, wrong button. Right? And if you look at the kind of overall motion, it's pretty close. Kind of interesting. So there's that. Next couple days. And then after that, what's interesting is that the models haven't really sniffed much of this, but this is another area of low pressure. That's around the 18th, so that's mid next week. Haven't seen much indication of this, but mid next week. Nice cold front. Kind of a mess. That is going to be an interesting little setup right there. Like a decent front, big old storm system near us. It's going to be a wet, nasty setup there. That's around the 26th, the 27th. Didn't we see that on the models? Like if we go back to the GFS, wasn't the GFS saying like around the 20? Yeah. It was saying like the 20. I said the 26th, the 27th. There's the 26th. Isn't that funny? There's the 26th, big nasty storm system over us. there's that same kind of pattern around the same time frame. So that's interesting. I love it when long range methodology links up with computer model data. That's really interesting stuff. All right, but the power of the BSR is that we can actually go even further out. So you have to understand it's just a tool. It's not anything more than that. It's a teleconnection. So decent front. Boy, lots of decent fronts. What are you? That's like November 2nd. Yeah, that's November 2nd. That is interesting. So we were talking about the storm system the end of October a couple of days ago. It looks like it's more of an early November thing. Look at that. That's November 2nd. We go back a run. Model data is still there. We go back 2 runs. Model data is still there. We go back 3 runs. 4 runs. All right, so November 2nd. The west coast of Florida. Don't know if it'll be tropical or not, but it's going to be something. It's going to be something to watch. That's pretty clear. November 2nd. Anybody want to write that down for me? Michelle, yes, because I remember you saying it actually might be cooler for Halloween. Yeah, I mean, it might be. Somebody write down November 2nd. And then turning cooler. And then some sort of a weird, this model's going like a Fujiwara or something. But it's going to be cooler there. That's what is it? That's like November 10th, 11th. Looks like a nice big hit of cooler air. Got to tell you, there's some pretty decent indicators of some cooler air ahead. So I got to love that. But in the meantime, we've got our own little cooler air around. So Sarah says, I'm in Cape Coral, smacking us on the forehead. I don't want anybody to smack you on the forehead. It's a teleconnection, and so read into it as that and nothing more. It's interesting stuff. Laura says, I already had that weekend written down. Perfect. We continue to watch that. All right. So in the meantime, enjoy, even though it's a mostly cloudy day, enjoy the mostly cloudy skies because we've got a bunch of rain coming in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Would not surprise me if we don't start really ramping up that rain coverage even higher. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything for me? Anything at all? We're going to be talking a lot more about all this stuff on Tracking the Tropics coming up at 10 a.m. I love the thought that our pumpkin won't rot. It's still Florida. Yeah. Mickey's asking about ensembles. I'm going to run out of time for that. We'll do that on Tracking the Tropics at 10 for sure. All right. Patty says Daytona Beach Shore says hi. Hi, good morning. All right, I will see you guys at 10 o'clock for a deep dive on the tropics. Just a reminder for nerddom's sake real quick, we've got the annual solar eclipse. The Ring of Fire is this Saturday, peaks at 1:26 p.m. While you shouldn't look at the sun directly, just a heads up, 55 to 60% coverage in Florida. And for us, unfortunately, there will be clouds, showers, and storms around. All right? All right. I'll see y'all at 10 a.m. for Tracking the Tropics with WJCL Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Nelson. Be good, y'all. Take care. Bye.